Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's meditation session. Let's meditate together. Meditation is not a method, it's not a system, it's not a tradition. Meditation is about the truth and the essence of life, which means what is. Human beings have created all kinds of ways to run away from what is into all kinds of ideas, illusions. The very escape from what is doesn't solve any issues. There are so many issues on this planet, in different societies, countries, cultures, whatever. The, the source of all these problems is our psychological problems. All kinds of neuroses showing in different behaviors, in different things. And it is amazing to see that this planet, this world, is full of all kinds of neuroses, all kinds of distortion of the mind. To meditate is to see this clearly, to see what is clearly, not to run away from it. Running away from what is into what should be actually only perpetuate of all kinds of mental and psychological issues. When life is full of what should be, this kind of life has no truth whatsoever. It's purely based on illusions in different ways: ambition, motivation, effort, will, free will. To meditate is to see this clearly, to see all kinds of distortion clearly, to see ourselves clearly, to see the distortion of ourselves clearly. But actually, it's difficult to see ourselves. It might not be difficult to see a lot of things, but it's very challenging to see ourselves. to see ourselves objectively. Because most time we are so concerned about ourselves. There are all kinds of thoughts, mental images about the self. Every time we see ourselves, it's so easy for us to fall into the reactions to the self. And those reactions in different forms, like self consciousness, egoism, self pity, and etc. Those reactions blocks us from seeing ourselves clearly, objectively. To meditate is to see ourselves clearly. It's to clear all the reactions to ourselves. And the very process of getting rid of these reactions to the self is to see the self. And that's the whole content of meditation. It's not about the method. It's not about system. It's not about tradition. Meditation is only about understanding the life. So, in each session, let's explore what is meditation. When one really knows what is meditation, one won't ask how to meditate. Any forms, any method, any systems, any traditions can make sense if one really understands what is meditation, which borders on what is life, how to live life. Why is meditation so mysterious? Or is meditation really mysterious or not? Meditation is all about how the neuron works. The neurons. It's the lower level of consciousness, right? We are all living in consciousness. We are all living in thoughts. Thoughts are the activity of the neurons. Meditation is about how the neuron works. That's why you can't think about that. You can't imagine about it. Because it's beyond your imagination. No matter how you imagine about it, how you think about it, it is always in your consciousness, in your thoughts. But meditation is beyond your thoughts. That's why if you are more curious about, the more curious you are about meditation, the more mysterious it will be. And over the past few thousand years, 2000 years, the people's curiosity about the inner world, which we also call spirituality or whatever, because people always want to use thoughts, use thinking to understand something is beyond thinking. That's the source of the mystery. But if you really let go of the thoughts, give up thinking about it, if you just feel it, to observe the mind, to examine yourself, to see yourself, meditation is no longer mysterious. You'll be very clear about it. That clarity is the key to all of the issues. Isn't it? Why do we have so many issues in all kinds of forms? In small things, big things. Individually, almost everybody's life is problematic. And on a social level, there are so many different conflicts, contradictions, complaints. It's all because people are confused. The confusion comes from when they don't understand how the mind works, how the neuron works. That's why they are confused about life and existence. So look at this chaos, the turbulence on this planet. They are the consequence of the confusion existing in each human being. So to meditate is not to get some experience, get some very mysterious and wonderful and extraordinary experience. That's also very egocentric. To meditate is to get the clarity about our life. So we know how to live a life simply on this planet. And this journey is meditation. Nothing mysterious. To start this journey is also very simple. Just quieten your mind in whichever way you can and turn inward to observe the mind. This observance is not from the center. There's only observance, but there's no observer. Just like you can feel your heartbeat sometimes, you can feel your breath. The whole body feel it. You don't exist. Do you? Who are you? Who am I? This is a question that has been bothering a lot of people philosophically. And when we are really into thoughts to think about this question, there's no answer. But people still seek answer. That's very seeking leads to the neuroses and leads to a lot of pain. But if we simply turn inward, just see the mind, see how it works, you will find that the you, the me, that entity is a bunch of thoughts, a bunch of mental images, like my age, my position, my title, my birthplace, my birth date, my wealth, my name. They are a bunch of mental images, symbols, thoughts. Which is the consequence of neuron activities. They are all concepts. And we use these concepts to build up the self, the ego. So this observer, which is the self, does not exist at all. But look at our life. We've spent most of the time being concerned about the self. All kinds of self-centered activities in all kinds of subtle forms. So we are tricked by the self. We are motivated by something that doesn't exist, but an illusion. So look at all the issues on this planet. Isn't it the consequence of the mischief made by the self? So to meditate is very simple, but it's also very difficult because the reactions to the self. To see things as they are. To see the self as it is. To see the illusions we have had about the self. And this whole journey is meditation. So now let's take a 3 or 4 minutes silent meditation. And then we come back to continue the exploration. Let's talk about free will and be present. Free will. What is free will? Does free will really exist or not? If somebody has a will, I will do something. I will become something. I will have something. I will whatever. Is there such a will that is really free? Free will has been such a very popular philosophical argument. And people try to find the answer to these why thoughts, why concepts, why all kinds of ideas. But it is in vain, isn't it? Because to approach this question, to see it clearly, we have to understand the mind. Then we can see the fallacy of this question, of this argument or statement. Then the very denial of this statement is the clarity we get about the mind. If I say I will become somebody or something, I will have something, doesn't it? Doesn't it imply there's a mental image I'm sticking to? I will become a famous person. If I say so, it seems that there's already a mental image in the head to motivate me to be that image, to make my reality as close as to that image. Is this a freedom? Or it is another form of imprisonment to that image? My mind is hooked to an image, and I try best to change my situation, so my reality can be as near, as close as to that image. And everybody can do so. So it's become a freedom. And this become the foundations of our perceptions about freedom, free will. Where there's a will, there is an attachment, right? The attachment to that image, to that what should be. That very attachment implies imprisonment, no freedom. When the mind is really free, the mind must be free of all kinds of attachment. So, free will implies a few assumptions. the very first assumption is that it's a very egocentric view. Everything is egocentric. Everyone is only care about the self. And from such a view, some philosophers, or I don't know who has mentioned this, we coin a term called free will. Second assumption, we assume that people are completely independent from each other. There's no any relationship, there's no any influence on each other. Everyone is complete. But the mind is never complete in this way. Most people's life are mutually independent in one way or another. Most people are living a very small life in the corner of each of their life or the mind. Everything is interrelated. So this assumption doesn't hold. So the freedom is a very egocentric term. It seems that everybody can do whichever they want. But at the same time, each mind is also influenced by so many factors. The freedom shown by one person is the consequence of the chaos of the mind, the turbulence of the mind. It's not the consequence of a free mind. So such a freedom is very destructive, right? All kinds of strange, outrageous behaviors and stuff can happen. We allow them to exist, and then we wrap up the permissiveness as a freedom. Which further re-enhance the separation between people. In one sense, re-enhance this kind of individuality. So, as we said just a minute ago, to see the fallacy of this free will and completely deny it, there's clarity about life and existence. The mind has to be free. Free from all kinds of influences, all kinds of attachment. This requires a great deal of meditation. And it's only a free mind can be really compassionate. Free means no conflict. There's no conflicted energy on the mind. There's no neuron conflicts. So the life becomes a flow. To be able to have no conflicts, one has to have a very quiet and subtle mind to be able to capture and understand the conflicts that arises from all kinds of very subtle situations. Then the mind can be free, can be simple. It is very, very complicated to be simple, isn't it? You have to be very subtle in understanding all kinds of mental actions of the mind. It's complicated to meditate, but the purpose of a meditation is to be simple, is it? But in the opposite, it is very simple to be complicated. We don't need to use any thinking or whatever, use any kind of wisdom. Life can become complicated so easily. There are so many daily interactions, information, influences. So to be simple, which means that to live a life without being dominated by thoughts, mental images, illusions, it means to live a life with a full awareness. The awareness is the intelligence of the neurons, not the thoughts. As human beings, we have overused the mind in all kinds of thinking mode, thinks too much. So we have suppressed the intelligence of the body, which is the awareness. People ask, what is called being present? Should I have no any thoughts and I should always focus on here and now, this moment? Is that called being present? We had to admit that how limited the language is in convey this meaning of the being present, being here and now. if you really think about that, it might lead to a lot of confusion simply by verse. We use being present to describe this kind of state of the mind. But the word, the description, is not described. One has to go beyond the language, the verse, to understand what is called being present. Being present has nothing to do with having thoughts or having no thoughts. Any kind of a pursuit of the extremity, like I should have no thoughts, that's nothing to do with being present. Instead, when one is pursuing the extremity, the opposite, one is still away from present. Being present means being aware. No matter what you are doing, maybe you are busy with your work for the whole day. If you have the awareness of how your mind responds, how your mind reacts at each moment, this is still called being present. Even you spend the whole day sitting in the park, looking around, you might not be necessarily present. When we say we are present, means that the body and the mind are together. This can only happen when we are aware. The mind has the awareness. Here, of course, there's another level of confusion about language. There's nobody who is aware. There's only awareness. The awareness is the intelligence of neurons. It's not in the thoughts. But if I say I'm aware, that is not awareness. When I say I'm aware, I'm still here. As we discussed at the beginning of the session, the self is the mental image, all kinds of stuff. It's in the domain of thoughts. Thoughts can never be aware. Though we use verse, we speak in this way. The fact is that thoughts can't be aware. And only when we walk out of thoughts, there's the possibility to have the awareness. So to have this awareness, we have to let go of the thoughts, to trust the body, to trust the neurons. To let go of the control. Where there's a self, there must be control. Where there's control, there's no awareness. So to meditate is to invite this awareness back. To really let the whole being be out of thoughts. So we can notice, the mind can observe itself. So now, time for us to meditate. Let's work off the thoughts and invite attention, invite the awareness back to this moment, to the body, to the neurons. And now, let's do this following the audio guide. Now, let's take a 10-minute meditation. Start by taking a moment to find a comfortable position to sit in a posture that you feel relaxed and get alert. Let hands rest on your knees or laps. Let the eyes close gently. Soften your forehead. Act a soft smile in the corner of your lips. Breathe naturally. As you breathe in, be aware that you are breathing in. Feel the sensation of breathing in. The region can be the nostrils, can be the belly, can be anywhere. Focus on the part you feel most. As you breathe out, be aware that you are breathing out. Feel the sensation of breathing out. The region can be the nostrils, can be the belly, can be anywhere. Focus on the part you feel most. Fix your attention on the breath. Let go of any thought, words, images. This moment, nothing is more important than breath. while you are listening to the bell. Check where your attention is. If it wasn't on the breath, after the bell, gently invite your attention back to the breath and sustain your attention on the breath. Slowly bring your awareness back to this room. Feel into your body. Wiggle your fingers and toes. When you are ready, open your eyes. Hope everybody has get some peace and calm from the last 10-minute meditation practice. To meditate is to put away all the things human has created and built up. Just simply put them away. The mind, the neurons, has their own intelligence to return to normal, return to peace, return to this moment. And that's the content of today's session. We examine what is meditation, free will, and being present. And by the end of the session, again, hope everybody stays peace and calm. Life can have a lot of challenges, but the top priority is to maintain the integrity, the total part of mind, without any division, without any separation, therefore free from all kinds of conflicts. And this is the meaning of the totality of the life. And only when life is really total, life can have a meaning. And thank you again for everybody via Zoom, Facebook, and YouTube to join this session. And hopefully we can see each other again in the future. And in the future, hopefully when this virus ends soon, we can meet again, face to face, on location. Anyway, now, stay peace, safe, and take care. Bye-bye, everybody.